About a month ago, I made a video talking about 6 NHL players who completely turned their careers around, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing something similar to that. But in that video, we talked about players who already turned their careers around, and in this video, I want to talk about 5 NHL players that are turning their careers around this season. And as always, if you guys are new around here, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Starting the video off with one I already spoiled in the thumbnail, and that is Anthony Duclair of the Ottawa Senators, who has been a very pleasant surprise for that team this season and is on pace to score 40 goals this year. And while yes, it is a long season and he's probably not going to keep that up, I definitely think he can score 30 100%. And if you guys have been a fan of the channel for a very long time, I think it was like over a year ago, I made a video on my favorite players in the NHL, and he was in that video. He's a guy that I really liked when he played for Team Canada in the World Juniors. He was just a super electrifying player to watch. He was very good for Team Canada in that World Junior tournament as well, and I've always kind of followed him throughout his NHL career so far. That has definitely had its ups and downs. Duclair was originally a 3rd round pick, 80th overall by the Rangers in 2013. He would only play 18 games with the Rangers in 2014-15 and then would be traded to the Arizona Coyotes, where he had his best season in the NHL his first year in Arizona. 81 games played, 20 goals and 24 assists for 44 points, and it really looked like Arizona had a promising young player in Duclair. But after that, things really just went downhill. He was never able to get back to that level he was playing at in the 2015-16 season, and then he bounced around the league a little bit, spent some time with the Blackhawks, the Columbus Blue Jackets, before obviously ending up in Ottawa last season. And honestly, Ottawa was the perfect fit for Anthony Duclair, a young player who was kind of going downhill and just trying his best to actually stay in the league. And Ottawa is a perfect place for a player like that. There's no pressure to play there right now. They're a team that doesn't really have any expectations to win whatsoever. And like I mentioned, Anthony Duclair has just been a very pleasant surprise for them this year. Now let's kind of compare Anthony Duclair's 2015-16 season to his numbers so far this year. Like I mentioned before, 2015-16, 81 games played for Duclair, 20 goals and 24 assists for 44 points. And so far this season, in 31 games with the Senators, already 15 goals and 7 assists for 22 points. He's on pace to score 40 goals, and I'm just super happy for him because, like I mentioned, this is a guy that I'm a big fan of, and you never really like to see young players with that much talent kind of just fall out of the league. And it's definitely safe to say Anthony Duclair has found a home in Ottawa, and honestly, I think he's going to be a part of the future of this team. Moving on to the next player, and that is Josh Leivo of the Vancouver Canucks, a guy who was not even a regular NHLer until this season with the Canucks. He was originally a 3rd round pick by the Toronto Maple Leafs back in 2011, and he was a guy who would be up and down from the NHL to the American Hockey League. He was a guy who would be a healthy scratch on most nights, kind of just a utility forward. But he definitely does bring some physicality to the lineup and a little bit of skill too, and he's showing it this year with the Vancouver Canucks. So far this season, in 30 games, Leivo has 6 goals and 10 assists for 16 points for the Canucks. He had 18 points for Vancouver in 49 games last year, and he's already 2 points away from breaking that. His career high in goals was also last year. He had 14 on the season. 4 of those came with the Maple Leafs the first half of the season, and the other 10 came after he was moved to Vancouver. And I think this season, if Leivo continues to play this well for the Vancouver Canucks, he will break that 14 goal career high of last year and be in like the 15 to 20 goal range and maybe like 35 to 40 points. And when you consider the situation he was in for the majority of his career, he's definitely turning things around. But a lot of it is about opportunity. I'm sure if he got the opportunity to do this in Toronto, he would have been playing well there too. But when you look at the roster Toronto has and all the very good wingers they have, Leivo was never going to get an opportunity to play in the top 9 consistently like he has in Vancouver. So I don't really put it on Toronto because they didn't really have room for him. But it's really nice to see Leivo get that opportunity to show what he can do. He's just been very good basically ever since coming over to Vancouver from Toronto. The next player I want to talk about is 24-year-old Valeri Nichushkin for the Colorado Avalanche, former 10th overall pick by the Dallas Stars in 2013. Now, Valeri Nichushkin came into the NHL and actually had a pretty strong rookie season for Dallas. 79 games played in 2013-14, 14 goals and 20 assists for 34 points. It looked like he had a pretty promising future. But man, did things ever go downhill for Nichushkin's NHL career after that rookie season. Only played 8 games in his sophomore year, would also play 5 games in the American Hockey League that season, and then in 79 games played in 2015-16, only 9 goals and 20 assists for 29 points. After that year and him not being able to come to an agreement on a new contract with Dallas, he would go sign in the KHL and play there for the 2016-17 and the 17-18 season. And personally, I kind of thought his NHL career was over after that. I thought he was just going to stay over in the KHL, but he did return to Dallas last year, and it was just a disaster. The contract he signed to return to the NHL was a 2-year deal with an annual average of $2.95 million, but after that first year, which was last season, Dallas decided to buy out the contract on June 29th, making him a free agent. And then I 100% thought this was going to be the end. I thought he was going to return to the KHL and just be a guy that plays over there for his whole pro career, but the Colorado Avalanche decided to take a flyer on him and sign him to a 1-year contract, kind of like a prove-it deal. And lately, Valeri Nichushkin has been a very good player for the Colorado Avalanche. His overall numbers this year don't really jump out at you, as in 26 games he has 5 goals and 3 assists for 8 total points, but it's more than that. He's really reinvented his game and is a much more solid all-around player than I've ever seen him be. He's killing penalties for the Colorado Avalanche. He had a really nice shorthanded goal against the Maple Leafs a couple nights ago, and considering this is a guy who went 91 NHL games without scoring a goal, he described that as the hardest time of his life. It really is awesome to see him having some success over the past couple of weeks with the Avs. And again, even though his numbers really jump out at you, it's really just been over the past couple of weeks where he's really been impressive and is looking like he's turning his pro hockey career around, at least in the NHL. And if he continues to play like this, he definitely has a future in the league, and the Avs should definitely consider keeping him around and signing him to a new deal if he plays like this all year. Now, let's talk about Ryan Strome of the New York Rangers. I mean, how good has this guy been this season? He is 100% turning his entire career around. Strome was a former 5th overall pick by the New York Islanders in the 2011 draft, and like a lot of other guys I mentioned in this video, he had one really good season, but then it kind of just went downhill after that. His really good season came in the 2014-15 year with the Islanders, where in 81 NHL games he had 17 goals and 33 assists for 50 points, and obviously was still a very young player at the time. But following up that season, he would have a really disappointing year with only 28 points, 8 total goals, and he was just never really able to get back to being that 50-point player he was with New York. He would then spend a little bit of time with the Edmonton Oilers. Things didn't really work out there at all either. And then a little bit into last season, the Oilers decided to trade Ryan Strome in a 1-for-1 deal for Ryan Spooner. What an awful trade that has turned out to be for Edmonton. And after that trade, Ryan Strome did show some signs of what he could be for the Rangers. In 63 games with the team last year, he had 18 goals and 15 assists for 33 points. But I mean, he has taken his game to a whole nother level this season, and I honestly don't really think anyone saw that coming. And personally, that injury that Mika Zibanejad suffered early on in the season, I think that was one of the best things that could have happened to Ryan Strome, because then he got an opportunity to play with Artemi Panarin, and those two have shown some amazing chemistry. And now Ryan Strome has really solidified himself as a very good top 6 forward, and I think he's going to remain there for the rest of the season for New York. And now just quickly comparing his best season to date, which was 2014-15, to this year: 50 points then in 81 games, and so far this year in 29 games, 6 goals and 20 assists for 26 points already. I mean, he is flirting with being a point per game player, and yeah, he probably won't keep that up for the full season. I definitely think he could be in the 65 to 70 point range. And if you were to tell the Rangers heading into the year that Strome would finish the season with like 60 plus points, they would have taken that every day of the week. And now for the last player we're going to talk about in today's video, the second Colorado Avalanche player, and that is Andre Burakovsky, who was acquired by the Colorado Avalanche this past offseason from the Capitals. The Capitals selected Burakovsky 23rd overall in the 2013 draft. He came in, had a strong 2014-15 season, and then really broke out in 2015-16 with 17 goals and 38 points in 79 games. But after that, Burakovsky was never really able to get back to that, 38 point player that he was in 2015-16. He had consecutive 25 point years in 2017-18 and 2018-19, and then Jacob Vrana kind of had the breakout season last year that everyone expected Andre Burakovsky to have, and I guess the Capitals kind of just got tired of waiting for him to really break out and traded him away to the Avs. In Colorado, being a team that really needed depth scoring, I think they made a great choice bringing in a young player like Burakovsky with so much skill. And so far this season, Burakovsky is showing the Avs that they made a great choice by bringing him in. He's been amazing. In 27 games, Burakovsky already has 12 goals. That's the same amount of goals he had in 76 games last year, and he also has 11 assists for 23 total points. That's just 3 points off of his point total from last year already. He's been great for Colorado. He's having a breakout season for sure. And considering the past couple of seasons he had for the Capitals, I think you can definitely say he's turning his career around with the Avs. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. These are fun videos to make. I always like guys that people kind of write off and then they come back and turn things around, and all the guys I talked about in today's video did exactly that. So with all that being said, as always, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please feel free to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.